Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. This is CryptoVatsik. Nothing of what you're about to see is considered financial advice. Do your own research. All right, with everything else going on in the market right now, all we can do, in my opinion, is just stick to the charts. So we're going to cover Polkadot today and go through these key levels that I'm seeing. So right off the bat, I've marked some key levels from a historic price from back here in 2020. And really, they're just those support and resistance zones, right? So we had this major low here that had tapped quite a few times here. So at least three sort of times it kind of created that base, this accumulation zone that we saw here back in 2020 before the big run, and that kind of set the stage for the next reaccumulation zone up here. Okay. And so two areas that I'm definitely watching closely. I've marked out the bottom of that accumulation zone here, and then ultimately when we broke out and made this next high before really taking off on the cycle, I've marked that high out as well. So in here with these wicks. So just good for context. Now when we come back over to what we're currently seeing, we're on the 12-hour here, so a bit higher time frame. We can see those thick lines here, okay, on the chart. And so really those are just the levels that I'll be watching, right? And it's good to just look both directions, up and down, right? So if we get back above this level up here around $10.50 area, I'll change my tune, I'll change my bias, and I'll start to get bullish. But until that happens, that's a key level that I think will act as a ceiling of resistance for quite some time during this bear market. We see that happen, in previous bear markets where there's just that ultimate ceiling where we get these bear market rallies and then we continue to come back down, and eventually we will break out. However, we really need to see that accumulation down here over some time, and don't take it to scale into the future here. But the idea is that I think it'll act as that area to be tough to break through for some time. So right now I'm focusing more on the downside. And the reason being is we don't know how much this contagion in the market is going to really affect things and for how long. So I'm looking down at these lower levels. Okay, so basically $4, just over $4.50 is a key one for me. I don't think this dump is quite done yet. I think at the least we'll get a chance to get in lower, and I do think that the market just overall is going to be weak. And even if we get these minor relief rallies, I think that we'll see some lower prices in the near future. So this is kind of the first one that I'm looking at around 450 area, 460, and then ultimately if things get really bad, potentially a tap or a wick down to less than $4 potentially. Okay. Now I've also marked over here some levels that we were continuously breaking. Polkadot didn't really establish a clear zone of support, that it was bouncing on that eventually broke. It just kind of kept deviating below and breaking steadily over time. So we had this major wick back here, okay, in May that established a low, and then almost, had a nice relief, but almost immediately came down and deviated and broke that. So it's violated at that point and continued to chop around, meet another low here down to $6. So they're just levels that I'm looking at, and if we want to trade this, those would be some sort of target looking upwards. And they're considered resistance now at this point, right? So you come down, you make a new low. We had this wick here, this candle here tried to get above it temporarily, and then it wicked all the way back down. And then eventually on the second one, it was able to break through, right? So really, ultimately, if I'm being honest, I think that these are just going to be resistances. So I'd be looking to, if we flip a level, I'd long to the next, but then I'd be also looking to probably short once we get to those levels, depending on what price does. So it just really matters what price is going to do. And aside from the news and everything going on, you can see what happens when we violate support, right? We violated this one with this low, right? And then we violated that low here with this low, and you just make a new low after. It's just a continuous pattern, right? So low, lower low, lower low, lower low, and then now a new low. So my assumption would be that we'd just continue to kind of bleed out over time. And it's fine. It's not necessarily a negative thing. It just means that the market needs to have that time to reestablish confidence, right? And like I said, get into that accumulation zone. So ultimately, I think that a really key level would be this previous high And if we did get a serious amount of relief up to this high, I think that this zone here is a key area that I'd want to watch very closely. If we did get something like this, I would like to see a flip of that. I'm not so certain we will see that, but you know, you got it. All cards are on the table at this point, okay? And the reason why I say that too is because this candle's not really convincing me right now. When we saw a previous pump, let's go to the daily here. When we saw a previous temporary reversal, we usually saw a bullish engulfing candle. Maybe I was looking on the 12-hour here. So you can start to see these previous dumps, right? So you can, when you got a reversal, we got a bullish engulfing, like right here, right? So we started to get bullish engulfing. We made a new low, and kind of just cancels out that sell pressure, right? But when we don't get a bullish engulfing and we get a failed, for instance, right here, right? This one was almost a bullish engulfing, a little bit more push up, but really just looks weak, and then came down and made a low here, right? So when I say that, I mean this big red candle here, I would like to see basically the top, this zone here flipped, right? And it's really struggling to do that right now. So I would love to see a flip of that, and then talk about some of these targets above. But ultimately, that's some serious pressure right now. You can already see it wicking back down, and I think we've only got probably, I don't know, just under 4 hours left for this daily candle to close, right? So that's really what I want to see. I want to see one of these kind of bullish engulfing candles, but I'm just not seeing it yet. And although I do think that the pain's not over, I think we are getting very close. I do think we'll bottom out, very, very soon. I'm still talking months, okay? So keep that into perspective, but I do not want to be looking to short in these levels. Even though I would expect another push potentially back down, this is a very unpredictable and volatile market right now with everything going on. I'm not looking to short, down here, right after this. Like, these are not the areas you want to be shorting. These are the areas you want to start to carefully consider taking longs or slowly DCAing, dollar cost averaging in. If you do want to trade this, let's get into the lower time zone and actually take a look at what the chart's doing. I think I had my notes on another chart here. There we go. So we're on the 30-minute time frame here, and clearly, so down here was a nice market structure break, right? So basically, we came back down, we made our bullish order block in green here, right? Right there, because that candle was invalidated by this up candle. Okay, came back down, ultimately retesting that bullish order block. Yes, sure, a couple wicks below, but your stop loss ultimately would have been below those wicks. And then came up, and then really what led to this is this market structure break. So we had basically this previous high here. Okay, came down, lower high, lower high. This previous high invalidated by this higher high, and then a retest and up, okay? And so that was your confirmation on this retest to go long, and we had a beautiful market structure break in the yellow zone here, getting us out of this downfall, okay? And so then ultimately made another nice push upwards and came up to this area right in here of resistance, okay? The origin of the breakdown, I talk about these a lot, from this previous area of support that we had, and came up and failed, came back down, and then ultimately just kind of creating this overall trend here on the 30-minute, and then smashed through this order in the breakdown. So that's nice. So on a shorter time frame, this is great to see. And we came up, we did have a bearish SFP here, okay, compared to this wick, this high came up, actually closed above, but then swing failure pattern down, and ultimately creating supply, basically quite a large bearish order block. I know it's on the 30-minute, but some sort of supply resistance zone off of this candle now at this point, because it's been invalidated on the next candle following a market structure break. Okay, so last up candle invalidated, and then having a market structure break is your definition there of a bearish order block. So I would expect this to be resistance still at this point if you're looking to go long. And however, there is some confluence here with this this SR flip that we've got here. Okay, so this zone being support now at this point, you can see it reacting off of it nicely. Maybe there's a sweet spot in here somewhere to go long, closer to this trend line here. Okay, let's see what RSI is doing quickly. So I'll kind of peeked up here into overbought territory a little bit, but yeah, trading around the equilibrium now here, around the 50th percentile, okay, within the relative strength index, and it's nice to see. And what's really nice to see is off this bottom too, just that confirmation. Not really, I don't say it's bullish divergence here, but we did come down and ultimately made a higher low on RSI, so that's also really nice to see right here. When you're kind of coming down here and you're not breaching these lows here and you're making a higher low on RSI, is just showing signs of strength is coming back. So that was nice to see. And at this point, yeah, it doesn't tell us too much. But if we are trading this further up, clearly my level of invalidation would be a drop, losing this level here. So losing $5, call it $5.80 area. Because that was that current SR flip. So if we lose that level, I'm out, and then likely we'd lose this, this trend as well. This trend line here, we'd probably likely lose that as well. So if it does hold, though, I'd be targeting, a sweep of these highs up here. Okay, so sweep of, somewhere in here, these three highs here, just obviously areas of supply. But ultimately, if we are going to see a nice push up here, I want to get out of this valley quicker. Okay, I want the strength to continue the momentum. If we start to kind of slouch over and do something like this, then on a higher time frame, I do think that's going to happen, but there could be some juice left in the tank on this push up, potentially come up here and sweep this high, and then it's down sort of thing. So I don't know, that's fine, but that's why you got your invalidations, and that's why you have to know when you're wrong and have those stop losses set, have that risk. But I'm just not going to go into any short scenarios. In either videos, I show you for sure what I would like to see to short, but just on a high time frame, I'm just not comfortable shorting down here, down at these levels. It's just too unpredictable, and this could reverse, almost at any point. So, my focus is starting to shift to those accumulating dollar cost averaging zones and those lines on a higher time frame that I show you down below, and really just being patient, waiting to see what's going to happen. I talk about volume a lot as well. I do like to see the volume spiking like this. In these capitulation events, we do typically see volume spike like that, and it's a sign that the market has started potentially capitulating or has capitulated, and it's a good thing. I think it's kind of needed, to really start to form our bottom and kickstart the next cycle where we really make that cycle bottom. So I think, exciting times are ahead, you guys, as dark as it seems right now at this point. Opportunities around the corner. Be patient, be disciplined, and stick with it, right? Because I think in a few years, if you kind of leave the computer for a few years and come back, you might have missed the boat. So this happens, and each time the markets come back stronger. And potentially with Solana going down, there's some fundamental arguments there with other chains being developed on, devs moving to other chains such as Polkadot potentially, to continue their work and their projects. So we'll see what happens with Solana. But anyways, just things are very fluid, and just remember that. So stay safe. Thanks for joining. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the engagement, the likes and comments. Let me know what you think in the comments. And I'd love to hear what you have to say. And you can follow me on Twitter, obviously, at CryptoVatsik as well for frequent updates. Thanks a lot for joining. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.